good to have you along. Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the man behind the looking glass, Lewis Carroll, and see how that can help us with writing a book. Plot, characters, and finding that solution. Charles Dodgson was born in 1832, better known by his pen name Lewis Carroll. He was an English writer, a mathematician, a photographer, best known for Alice in Wonderland, which was published in 1865, and then Through the Looking Glass in 1871. His life was one of contradictions, marked by a deep love of logic and also nonsense. And it is this contradiction or these elements that make the character so interesting. He had a strong, strict religious upbringing and an unconventional social life that continues to fascinate readers today. From an early age, displayed remarkable intelligence and creativity. He entertained his siblings with a homemade magazine filled with stories, poems, and drawings. You can see the creativity in him at work, even at this early age. He also had a natural talent for wordplay, inventing puzzles and games that would later shape the whimsical logic of Alice's adventures in Wonderland. He excelled academically and attended Christ Church in Oxford, where he studied mathematics. And though brilliant, he was somewhat absent-minded and struggled with social anxiety. Despite his scholarly achievements, Dodgson never felt entirely comfortable in the academic world. He was a deeply shy person and he stammered. And he found it easier to connect with children. His most famous inspiration came from his close friendship with the Liddell family, particularly Alice Liddell, the daughter of Henry Liddell, the Dean of Christ Church. On July 4th in 1862, during a boating trip with Alice and her sisters, Dodgson became enthralled with the idea of Alice falling down a rabbit hole into a world of absurd adventures. The book was an instant success, beloved for its surreal humor, clever wordplay, and unique blend of fantasy and logic. Its sequel, Through the Looking Glass, and What Alice Found There in 1871, introduced even more iconic characters. Despite his literary success, Dodgson never fully embraced fame and preferred to remain quiet. He continued teaching mathematics, writing logic puzzles, and publishing works under his real name. And in time became increasingly more reclusive, avoiding public recognition as Lewis Carroll. He died of pneumonia in 1898 at the age of 65, and although he considered his mathematical writings more important, his legacy endures to this day for Alice in Wonderland. So, a man of paradoxes, Dodgson lived in a rigid world of academia while creating some of the most imaginative stories ever written. So, what can we gain from him? Again, I'm going to look at some of his quotes because these are definitely summations of his view of himself or his view of life. If you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there. I can't go back to yesterday because I was a different person then. So drawing on that older theme of you cannot go home, who in the world am I? That's the greatest puzzle. I think you can see a theme there of internal reflection. So we are imagining, again, plot characters. Chicken and the egg. What comes first? Did Lewis Carroll already have entire imaginative worlds, a plot, characters and settings, but not a central character? I think we can go again to the idea of coming up with as many ideas, like Lewis Carroll did, of what-if situations. And again, we want to work with these as though there is no idea that is a bad idea. Put it down in your journal because it might become part of another idea that makes it more appealing to you. We could think of it almost as having primary ideas and then secondary ideas and tertiary ideas beyond that, almost like colors. But don't think that you have to start with just these colors. Just almost the way life is, because although we have the primary colors of red, yellow, and blue, it's important to note that when we are dealing with digital displays, those three primary colors are red, green, and blue. And when we're dealing with printing, they're entirely different. Now it's cyan, magenta, and yellow. So just as we remain flexible for different applications, you must also remain flexible and fluid in your creation of your plot and your characters. So let's take some what-if situations. What if humans discovered that Earth was a prison planet? This is in science fiction, by the way. What if memories could be bought and sold like currency? What if time travel was only possible inside our dreams? Let's take fantasy. What if every lie a person told became a physical creature? A kingdom's entire history was written in an unbreakable book. If magic was powered by emotions. Horror. If mirrors didn't only reflect reality, if a person woke up to find that the entire town had been replaced, if a cursed library forced its readers to live out the books that they read. Mysteries and thrillers, if a private investigator was hired to solve their own murder. One person vanished without a trace every year. A journalist found an old photograph of herself at a crime scene. Futuristic. What if emotions were outlawed? What if a society was divided into two classes? Those who lived in the real world and those who lived in a perfect simulated utopia? What if a government program allowed people to erase their worst memories? And romance. What if soulmates were real? What if one couple tried to break a cycle? What if a person kept waking up in a different version of their life? So we are trying to come up with any and all combinations. We are mixing colors. We are endlessly trying to come up with variations, and then we will recognize what is the one that we will focus on. I do hope this video has been helpful to you. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Otherwise, bye for now.